head to our brother Dennis Steve. From Dr. Alim.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Greetings once again. Welcome to the Your Immunity conference call. We do this every week on Tuesdays. We give updates on what's taking place vis-a-vis COVID-19. And of course, we feature solutions rather than problems. And the number one solution on scene today is Paximune. So Merry Xmas. We used to say Merry Christmas and giving people junk. That puts us in debt for the rest of the year. Well, this year, unlike any other year, it looks like Christmas has been canceled. I know people are traveling, but where is the Christmas spirit? It's missing. It's been replaced with fear and dread. I just heard the president-elect talking about the darkest days are straight ahead. You see, so he just fills the whole world with darkness and pessimism. And maybe that's his viewpoint. We live in a free country and people have a right to their viewpoint. Our viewpoint is quite different. We don't see things getting darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. As a matter of fact, I think we just are at the winter solstice, which means that the days are going to get brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter and brighter. That's my dryer going on. So I think Mr. Biden is wrong. Maybe it's getting darker for him. I wouldn't be surprised. But for those of you who are familiar with what we do here on the Your Immunity Project, we know things are getting brighter. We just heard from Sister Marsha giving our weekly progress report. And yes, that's really true. Think about that. 25,000 people who are currently safeguarded by the beautiful, divine, bovine proteins that are found in Paximune. Now, anybody who looks on the label, you see, it says very clearly what this is. It's a dietary supplement. Why is it a dietary supplement? Well, it says right here, next, it says bovine proteins. Well, bovine means it's from a cow. And we know what comes from a cow. Some of the proteins from cows are what we call milk. And what's in this bottle? The bovine proteins that are in this bottle are the same, or some of the same, I should say, some of the same proteins that are found in raw milk. So in raw milk, you have alpha interferon, you have beta interferon, you have gamma interferon. People who already drink the raw milk, you see, they kind of know what I'm already talking about. It improves your health. Well, one of the reasons that raw milk does improve your health is because of the presence of those interferons. You see, so when we show you Paximune as a dietary supplement, you see how that makes sense? See, this is not a drug. Some people, they call me up, they say, what's that new drug you have? It's not a drug. It's not even a medication. That would be going too far. This is not a medication any more than you would say a glass of raw milk is medication. So we've heard it said, let your food be your medicine, let your medicine be your food. Okay, well then this is it. This is the closest thing you're ever going to get to a full-fledged example of letting food become your medicine, because the bovine proteins in here, what are they other than food? So when someone challenges you, well, what are you doing? What are you doing with that Paximune? You're feeding people. You're feeding people. Any law against that? Is there any law against a man feeding his friends who are hungry, who are in need? Is there a law against that? Should we stop? Who can challenge a man feeding another man? Didn't the Honorable Elijah Muhammad say that if I have a bowl of bean soup and my brother does not, then half of my bowl belongs to my brother? Okay, well, let's look at it this way. The recent journal called Science is one of the mainstream science journals. You don't get in the science journal unless your research, is really tight. And so a research article appeared just about a month ago showing the only people who really get severely ill from COVID-19 are people who are lacking the bovine proteins that are found in Paximune. In other words, COVID-19 symptoms. A lot of people can get infected, but they don't necessarily get sick. But the ones that get severely sick with symptoms, fever, chills, cough, all of the symptoms that we're familiar with. And of course, the worst ones end up in a hospital, even in an ICU, on a ventilator. And what they found out was the ones that get sick like that, they have a dietary deficiency in the proteins that are found in the Paximune. See, a lot of people talk about vitamin D deficiency. Well, yes, that leads to immune problems. That's true. So does vitamin C deficiency. So does vitamin A deficiency. Which vitamin could you do without that wouldn't weaken your immune system? When you think about it, which one can you do without? I mean, why did God create them in the first place if there was one that you didn't need? See, the truth about it is the laboratory has just invented a test for vitamin D. So that's why it's a fad, because they can charge money for it now. So you need all the vitamins, you need all of the minerals, you need all of the proteins, you need all of the essential fats, you need every nutritional factor, and it turns out that one of the most essential nutritional factors, no, I'm not going to say zinc, I'm not going to say selenium. Yeah, that's all the rage too. Zinc, all you need is zinc. All you need is selenium. No, what we found out that the most crucial, life-saving, nutritional factor that is responsible when it's deficient for people having a poor outcome with COVID-19 and even losing their lives is the deficiency of alpha interferon that's in this dietary supplement. So I'm just giving out general information in a very simple way, but it's very profound. You see, because what do you need a drug for if all you are dealing with is a nutritional deficiency? That's all it is? This big boogeyman called COVID-19 goes away when you correct a simple nutritional deficiency? That's all it is? You mean I don't need a shot?
Oh, you don't need a
No,
shot.
you don't need a shot. What you need is a physiologic dose of alpha interferon. It's just that simple. You don't have to be a PhD research scientist to know that if somebody is deficient in vitamin C, what you're supposed to give them. If they're deficient in vitamin C, you don't give them a vaccine, you give them vitamin C. So this is the simple science behind the use of Paximune. And this is not just me saying it. If you're a regular listener to this conference call, then we've provided you with all kinds of scientific data that back up this simple truth. But you don't have to be a PhD, you don't have to be an MD, you don't have to be a master of public health, you don't have to be anything except somebody willing to help another person. And it just comes down to a simple act of kindness, where one person helps another person by feeding them what they need. Now, which of you is so mean-hearted that you wouldn't feed somebody who was hungry if you had the food that they needed? Which one of you is that mean-hearted that you wouldn't do it? Especially at Christmas. Especially at Kwanzaa. You see, which one of you is that mean-hearted at this time of the year? And so that's why we say Paxmas. You see, it would not really be fitting to try to send somebody a bunch of junk like you did last year, if that's what you did. You see, that really wouldn't be fitting. It wasn't actually appropriate last year. But certainly this year, it's not. Even if you've been naughty or nice, that's not what you want to do. What you want to do is send something, especially with economic hardship, money being very tight. You want to send something that has a lasting value, something that counts. And so Paximune fits the bill, even the name, Pax, peace, peace on earth, goodwill towards all men. Isn't that the season's greetings, of course? And so, and then if there's time, I want to come back. I want to just make a statement about the ethical use of Paximune. Paximune is an ethical, scientifically developed professional product, and it should be handled in an ethical and professional manner. And so, despite our enthusiasm and zeal, we don't want to treat a scientifically produced ethical product like Paximune like it's some kind of a street drug, or that the Your Immunity Project is some kind of a street hustle. It's not. It is a professional program, and it has professional standards by which it operates. Now, because we're building as we go, not all of those professional standards and ethical standards have been put into writing. So it's understandable that everybody doesn't necessarily understand what we mean when we say that this is a professional and ethical project. But as time goes on, we'll clarify what those issues really mean. But and I guess I'm making my statement now. I don't need to come back later and say any more. But just let's keep in mind that the owners and the producers of Paximune are ethical and professional people. And they are very concerned about the reputation, the professional reputation, and the scientific reputation of their product. And they do not want it to be sullied or, dragged through the mud. In other words, like the Bible says, you don't throw pearls before swine. So what we have is a pearl. And we don't want to treat it like it's corn that's been thrown before swine. And we don't want to be those swine that ignorantly don't understand what it is that we're actually doing. And just because money may be involved and is involved, it doesn't mean that this is a money project. The Paximune project, the Your Immunity project, is all about the preservation of human life and the recovery of lost human potential. And so in order to achieve those goals, which are very lofty goals, long-term goals, in order to achieve those goals, then ethics must be in place and professional standards must be adhered to. And so that's all I'm going to say about that tonight. The valley of decision. What are you going to do? You see, especially frontline essential workers, nurses, doctors, dentists, people who are employed by the government, teachers. What are you going to do? Anybody that receives government benefits, those benefits are going to be contingent upon vaccination. So this is kind of like a reverse Rosa Parks moment. See, Rosa Parks refused to go to the bank. She refused to go. You see, and that started the civil rights movement. Well, now, you see, they want to put blacks up front. They say they are relinquishing white privilege. And so they're willing to not go first this time. They're relinquishing their white privilege, and they say Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter so much that you have to go to the head of the line to get vaccinated first. And so I think we need to give them a reverse Rosa Parks moment and say, no, we'll be very happy to go to the back of the line this time. And we see how you all do first before we sign up for your vaccine. Now, on a more serious note, and all of this is serious, even if you see the humor in it, all of it's very serious, deadly serious. And you laugh sometimes to be able to handle it. That's part of your coping strategy, is you don't take it so seriously. They're peddling fear. But I remember when I was a medical student, one of my clinical mentors gave me some good advice that has stayed with me all these years in my practice. Because I went to him one day, weekly meeting, and I was all excited about some new drug that had been introduced. And after I was finished asking him about it, he said, well, young man, let me give you some advice from an experienced doctor. He said, never be the first to try anything new. He said, I don't care what the drug detail man says. Don't be the first to try anything new on your patients. He said, give it about 5 to 7 years. And then if it still looks good, then you might want to try it out. But don't be the first to try something new. You see, they say fools rush in where wise men fear to tread. You see, and so the mRNA vaccine that they're talking about is very new. It's not just a new vaccine, it's a new type of vaccine. And so last week,